Hey, I'm Daniel Norton here in my studio in New York City with Paulina.
Hi.
And today we're gonna make some portraits. So I thought I would do something really fun with some pattern. We had this cool patterny shirt and, you know, I'm one of those obvious people. So obvious, right, we use a pattern. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a cookie. We've used a lot of different cookies before. You know, we've made them out of cardboard. I've used projectors, which is what we're gonna do today. We've used colored ones, but I'm gonna use this as a very basic cookie today to throw a pattern on the background. But because of the way I wanna do this, I wanna use like kind of a hard light feel to it. I want the effect to seem like the cookie pattern is basically what's lighting Paulina. But if we use that on her, then she'll get blotchy light all over her face, which is not gonna be the most attractive thing, right? I've said this before, dappled light is cool when you're looking at it, but when you start taking photos, it just doesn't always look as good. So this technique is not only good the way we're gonna do it, but if you were outside, let's say, and put somebody under a tree, and they had dappled light on them, you could do a similar effect. What we're gonna do is we're gonna mimic the direction of the light with our own light source. It's gonna clean it up. So this is gonna be a multi-step thing here. I'm gonna have to turn the lights off in here to get a good exposure, but I'll run through everything first. So one of the questions I get a lot, and I will answer it right now, right at the beginning of the video, is what tripod am I using? This is the Manfrotto 055 X Pro. I have 3 of them currently that I'm using. I like this tripod. So if you're asking me what tripod I'm using, that's the one. This is the Hydrostatic head. You know, if you like ball heads, there's lots of different cool heads to get, but that's the Hydrostatic head. That's the one I use most for the kind of stuff. Anyways, back to this. What I've got here is Dedolight DLED 10 with a projector on it. So this is a very powerful LED light with a projector. The projector is going to allow us to throw patterns, right? And then I also have, as what's going to be the key light on Paulina, is I have the Profoto OCF 2-foot Octa, and I've got it with a grid. There's a few reasons why I'm choosing that. One is that I want the light to be relatively small so it still has a punchy feel, right? I mean, it's going to be way softer than the direct light hitting her, but at least it'll have that kind of feel, like it could feel like that. If I put a 5-foot Octa there, it's not going to feel the same, right? But also, I don't want it to be spread everywhere. So I put a grid on it so we don't get it all over the place. I don't want a bunch of things going on. The other thing that we're doing here is we want to be very aware of the angles, right? I don't want to put my projector, let's say, coming from way over here, and then my light on that side, because it won't make sense. So I'm kind of looking at the direction. You can see the projector is kind of on this side of her. I put the light, the softbox more or less directly above that so that it's coming from the same direction. It feels right. So enough talking about it, let's do it. We're gonna break it down, like I said, in a couple different pieces. First, I will show you the pattern light, and then we'll add the flash, and then we'll put them together. So I'm gonna turn off the light in the space. It's gonna get a little dark in here for a second. I mean, you should still be able to see us, but it's gonna be dark. You know, don't get scared or anything. All right, so again, this is an LED light. It is actually bicolor, but I have it set to daylight balance, so it's gonna match our flash. And what we can see here is that it's throwing a circle of light. Yes, I can see the shadow from my softbox above her. That's gonna be cropped out. If it wasn't cropped out, then you just raise the softbox. I'm gonna make an exposure in the space. Now, unlike what we normally do and get a black frame, I have to get an exposure that I like, right? So I'm gonna just kind of come in here. I'm gonna go to F4, and I'm just going to adjust the background light until where I think it looks good based on my eye. The reason why I'm not using a light meter here is because I don't want it to necessarily be the right exposure. I want it to look the way I want it to look. So we take a shot like that. Okay, we can see, I also have it in black and white. I was gonna surprise you with that, but I forgot and I left it there. I wanna make this black and white because I love using black and white for texture. So a few things, of course, she's dark, right? The background has that dark, moody feel, which we want. But we can see, again, look, the dappled light just looks terrible, right? And yeah, you could try to have her move her face around to get it a little bit better on her, but it's never gonna look great if you're going for kind of a beauty shot. So I like the shadow on the wall. I like the background pattern, but I'm not in love with the light on her face. That's what we're gonna use the flash for. So let me go ahead and, I guess it's not too dark in here. I will just leave the lights off and let's turn the flash on. This is actually a Profoto B2. Again, it's in the 2-foot Octa. Now, I'm in TTL. I've already set my exposure at F4 at 20th of a second, and we're gonna take a shot. And we can see that once we add that in, for the most part, it's cleaned up all of that pattern on her face, right? We have light on her now that we didn't have before. She stands out nice and bright, right? It's got, again, I'm using a small directional light source, so it feels right, even though clearly it's not the same light. And if you notice, we don't really have double shadows because I put the light at the same angle. So we've got this nice clean effect of the light coming in. You know, I could do lots of different things, but I think this actually works pretty well. Oh, and just so you can see, I guess I forgot to do this. Let me roll my shutter speed back up to a 200th of a second. This is gonna mostly eliminate, actually, I'm not gonna do that. I'll leave it where it is because this will be better for you. I'm gonna, we're at f4 at a 20th. I'm gonna leave it here. And I'm going to just turn this light off, right? Because I mean, that's not gonna get rid of all light in the space, but it'll be enough to see basically what the flash is doing. There's the flash, you know, we can see. So that's the flash by itself. This is the constant light by itself. And then when we combine them, we get that, right? And I mean, notice now you'll be looking for it, right? The shadow from the flash is actually low, right? We can see it down here. So even in the double shot, you can see it's a bit darker down here. Cool. Let's take some shots like this and let's see what we get. So we'll turn this back on. Now I am at a 20th of a second and there is some ambient light hitting there, so she's got to be a little bit wary of that, but it shouldn't be too bad. You know, we'll kind of just pace ourselves here. Good. Just make sure everything's back in. Whenever you make a lighting change, it's always good to go back and just make sure one more time. Yeah, this is pretty good, right? She's solid. Now, if she starts moving around a lot, go ahead and like move around a lot. Like, she's moving, boom, you know. We might get some blur, but it should still be somewhat frozen. Yeah, see, we get that little pop and blur effect, so you can definitely play with that if you want. Maybe we'll do that at the end. That's always fun at the end, but let's go locked in. You know, so we find a good pose. That's beautiful. Hold. I'm gonna focus. Good. Then we have her changed up a little bit. Good. Nice. Try work. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I love that. Hold. Good. Good. Yeah, that's nice. Good. Beautiful. And nice and simple, right? And, you know, there we go. We've got this combined light. And like I said, this could work in any situation. If you were, for instance, outside, as I mentioned, under a tree, you just want to look to see where the sun is and put the light in the correct direction. So yeah, I think it's the strongest when you're looking right at the light, always, right? The light's always best when you're looking right at it. That's the key to photography. Look at the light. Let's do one more like that. And that'll be that. Just a little, good. Yeah, beautiful. Nice and strong. You know, and again, if you didn't love the direction of the light with the shadow, you could always just move where your LED or your main light is. I could have put it up over my head if I wanted to. The main reason why I didn't do that, and just be wary of this, especially with LEDs, is that it would blind the heck out of her because it's super bright. So that's one reason why we put it kind of off to the side, right? We don't want to, you need to make sure your subject is comfortable, right, when you're working. All right, so there you go, right? Nice and simple. We had a concept. We thought about what lights would be appropriate for that. So we've got the pattern with the projector. If you don't have a projector, you could have cut a pattern in cardboard and shot a flash through it, some kind of hard light. We've done that in previous videos, right? The main idea here, though, is to keep your projector, your cookie shape, and your kind of cleanup light, if you will, the soft, like punchy light on the subject at the same angle, the same direction. So it feels like one light source. Then you have this kind of effect that when somebody looks at this, they don't necessarily think that we cleaned it up. You know, to somebody who's looking at it, they might think, oh, that's just cool dappled light there. But in fact, it's not. And that's kind of the next stage, right? That's what we do. That's what we do around here. So if you want to see more of what we do, go ahead and subscribe to Adorama TV and ring the bell so you get all the notifications. I will put Paulina's information in the description. You guys can follow her. Follow me, Daniel Norton Photographer, and I'll see you next time on set.